All right, welcome to the explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this, shall we? Have you ever looked at a massive wall of computer code and just felt completely overwhelmed? Or maybe you keep hearing the word Java thrown around in the tech world and you're wondering, wait, is that just coffee or is it the language that literally runs the internet? Well, today we are demystifying the absolute giant of the programming world, Java, and we are doing it specifically for absolute programming beginners. If you have zero experience, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down exactly what Java is, why it's so incredibly popular, and how you can actually start learning it without pulling your hair out.
So, here's our roadmap for today. 1. Why Java dominates tech. 2. The beginner learning curve. 3. The JVM superpower. 4. Core features and history. And 5. Starting your coding journey. Okay, moving into section 1, why Java dominates tech. The undisputed heavyweight of coding. Now, before we even look at a single line of code, we really need to understand the landscape. Like, why are we even talking about Java in the first place? Well, if you look at literally any major programming index, those lists that track the most popular coding languages out there, you are consistently going to find Java sitting right there in the top 5. Actually, depending on the exact year or month, it's frequently sitting pretty at number 1 or number 4. Decades after it was created, it just refuses to leave that top tier. So this isn't some passing trend we're talking about. It is practically a foundational pillar of the whole tech industry.
And honestly, that top spot, it makes total sense when you look at its incredible versatility. Java is literally everywhere. We're talking massive enterprise applications, the super complex software running banks and giant corporations. It's also huge in mobile development, especially if you're looking at Android apps. Plus, it runs complex web development back ends. Because it's just so rock-solid reliable, it is the go-to, heavily preferred language for big multinational companies. When these giants want to build something that actually lasts, they reach for Java.
All right, section 2, the beginner learning curve, facing the elephant in the room. Okay, I promised we'd be honest, and here is the hard truth. Starting with Java can feel incredibly intimidating. Just look at this quote straight from our source, which hits the nail on the head regarding a major beginner frustration. If you want to print one statement, you have to write 5 lines of code. It's true. In a language like Python or JavaScript, if you want your computer to spit out the words hello world, you basically just type print hello world. One tiny line. But in Java, you got to set up a class, define a method, and type out this surprisingly long set of instructions just to get that exact same simple output. For a beginner, it really does feel like a whole lot of extra unnecessary typing.
But wait, check out how this exact frustration gets completely reframed. Yes, over on the left, starting out definitely has a steep curve because of those 5 lines of code. But shift your eyes over to the right side, building big apps. As your application grows from, one tiny statement to literally millions of lines of code, Java's verbosity actually transforms into its greatest superpower. All those extra words, they force a really strict structure. It makes the code highly readable, line by line, for anyone else who might be looking at it. And because it's so readable, it's highly maintainable over the long haul. Basically, you suffer a little bit on day 1, just so you don't have to suffer on day 1,000.
Which brings us to section 3, the JVM superpower. The secret sauce of Java. Now, to genuinely understand Java, you absolutely have to understand its underlying engine. The absolute key here is this acronym, JVM, which stands for the Java Virtual Machine. Think of this as a sort of magic translator. When you write Java code, you aren't actually talking directly to a Windows computer or a Mac. You're talking to the JVM. And the beautiful thing is, the JVM is installed on almost every device in the world. It takes your code and flawlessly translates it on the fly for whatever specific hardware it happens to be sitting on.
But here is where it gets really, really exciting, especially for an absolute beginner. The JVM doesn't just run Java anymore. Because that engine is so incredibly robust, other developers have come along and built entirely new programming languages that run right on top of it. I'm talking about languages like Kotlin, Scala, and Groovy. They are all powered by the JVM. So what does this mean for you? It means when you put in the hard work to learn Java, you aren't just learning one single language, you are essentially learning an entire ecosystem. It makes it super easy to jump over to these other modern languages later down the line. And that actually leads us to a massive open secret in the tech industry. If you're job hunting, interviewers will frequently throw Java questions at you, even if the job you're applying for strictly uses Python, C#, or C++. Crazy, right? But why do they do that? Because Java is incredibly rigorous. If you can sit there and prove you understand the logic, the structure, and those foundational concepts of Java, hiring managers know you can pretty much easily pick up whatever else they throw at you. Java's kind of the ultimate proof of your programming competence.
Moving right along to Section 4, Core Features and History, from 1995 to today.
Let's take a super quick look at how Java has evolved and the specific technical features that have kept it glued to the top of the industry for literally decades. So, Java was officially born way back in 1995. It was created by a company called Sun Microsystems and led by a brilliant programmer named James Gosling. Fast forward to around 2010, the tech giant Oracle came in and acquired Sun Microsystems, taking over the whole development of Java. Now, there were a few bumps during that transition, but today, Oracle is heavily invested. In fact, rather than waiting years for a massive new version, Java now gets fresh updates every 6 months. This constant cycle ensures the language is always evolving, staying totally modern, and remaining as powerful as ever.
So what exactly makes it so powerful under the hood? Let's demystify some of those technical buzzwords you are definitely going to hear. First up is Wora. Write once, run anywhere. Thanks to that magical JVM engine we just talked about, you can write your code on a Windows laptop and it'll run flawlessly on a Mac or even a Linux server without you having to change a single line. Next, we have multi-threading support. That's just a fancy way of saying Java is exceptionally good at doing multiple tasks at the exact same time without crashing. Then there's the Collection API, which is this brilliant built-in system to organize and manipulate huge groups of data. And finally, exception handling, meaning when an error inevitably happens, because it will, Java has this robust safety net to catch that error so your entire program doesn't just spontaneously combust. Together, these features make Java incredibly reliable. All right, finally, Section 5, starting your coding journey, your roadmap to success. Okay, so here is your actual practical strategy to succeed as an absolute beginner. A true, full-fledged core Java explainer or course is going to contain over 12 hours of dense, heavy content. You literally cannot complete this in a single day, and frankly, you shouldn't even try. Step 1, do not rush. Pace that 12+ hours out over several weeks. Your brain absolutely needs that time to absorb the logic. Step 2, be strategic. Use the provided video timestamps to jump around. Review the concepts you find tricky, or just skip ahead if something already clicks for you. And step 3, you cannot learn how to code just by watching. You have to access the provided GitHub link where all the example code is stored. Download it, play around with it, break it, and then try to fix it. Because getting your hands dirty, that is how real learning actually happens. So, we've broken down that initial intimidation factor, we've explored the sheer power of the JVM, and we've laid out exactly how to tackle the learning process. The tools are literally right in front of you. The only thing left to ask is the question right there on the screen. Are you ready to start the journey? Because once you master Java, you haven't just learned a new programming language, you've learned how to truly think like an engineer. And this entire world of software development just opens right up to you. So take a deep breath, open up that code, and what are you going to build first? I'll see you next time.